Many times, we find ourselves caught up in the rush of everyday life, impacted by small situations that have the power to throw us off balance. Traffic, a poorly chosen word, an unexpected attitude from someone. They're like little gusts of wind that disorganize us, making us lose our center. But what really happens when these situations affect us? Why do we give so much power to the reactions from the outside world? Does true peace come from controlling what happens around us, or from how we respond to it? The truth is, all of us at some point have been like pinball humans, bouncing from one reaction to another, dragged by the current of everything going on around us. When something bad happens, whether at work or at home, our mind often throws us into a whirlwind of thoughts, feelings, and overanalysis. But I ask you, beloved ones, what would happen if you began to realize that what affects you isn't the event itself, but how you interpret it? And more importantly, how would your life change if you started to understand that, in many cases, the power to transform your experience lies in your ability not to react? When you position yourself as an observer of life, instead of reacting to every detail, you start to realize that peace doesn't lie in controlling what happens, but in choosing how to relate to what comes your way. This is the secret that those who seem to be at peace all the time have already discovered. They've chosen not to react, to not allow even the little things of everyday life to steal their energy. If you've gone through situations that seemed small but still drained your peace, maybe it's time to stop and observe what's happening inside you. The key lies in understanding that external events aren't what truly affect us. It's our interpretation of them. And when we manage to detach from those interpretations and simply observe, we become immune to the challenges of the outer world. That's true freedom. And that's what we can begin to practice right now. Now that we understand how our reactions shape our experience, beloved ones, it's time to take a deeper look at what's really at stake. The world around us is constantly moving, full of stimuli that try to pull us off center. But what if I told you that, instead of reacting, you have the power to simply observe? Imagine for a moment that you're facing a discomforting situation. Someone makes a mean comment, or an unexpected event arises. The automatic response would be to feel offended or frustrated. But what happens when you pause for a moment and choose not to react? The key here lies in the power of the pause, in the moment you give yourself to choose how to respond, instead of being swept away by the current of your feelings. When you begin to practice this pause, you create space for something greater: choice. And by choosing consciously, you free yourself from the reactive cycle that controls most people. This doesn't mean you need to become numb or stop feeling. It means becoming more aware of what truly deserves your energy. Imagine that instead of reacting with anger or frustration, you simply observe the situation and allow it to unfold, without letting it affect you emotionally. When you become the observer, instead of being dragged by the tide of your emotions, the world around you loses its power over you. You start to realize that many of the things that disturb us don't actually have the power to define us. They can't change our internal state, unless we allow them to. This process doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice and patience. But as you begin to observe more and react less, you'll notice your inner peace growing stronger. You'll realize that the world isn't actually happening against you. It's just happening, and you have the freedom to choose how to move through it. Now we've arrived at the point where true transformation happens. Once you begin observing instead of reacting, you'll discover something deep. The power to choose your response isn't just about maintaining inner peace. It's about how you shape your reality. When you become truly immune to external distractions, when you stop identifying with your emotions and respond in a balanced way, You connect to something far greater than the highs and lows of daily life. The practice of detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or disconnected from your emotions. On the contrary, it means being deeply present and aware of your feelings, but not letting them define your experience. It creates an inner space where you can observe life without being consumed by it. And over time, this state of balance begins to expand. The situations that used to disturb you, personal attacks, criticism, even the little frustrations of everyday life, begin to lose their grip. They still exist, but you now have the ability to move through them without losing your center. You learn not to give power to what doesn't deserve your energy. Here's the crucial point. By stopping emotional reactions and consciously choosing how you respond, you begin to be the creator of your own experience. And it's in this state of freedom that you can begin to live in alignment with your truth, without being manipulated by external influences, without being dragged by others' expectations. By taking the reins of your reactions, you become able to make more authentic choices, to act with intention, and, most importantly, to live in alignment with who you truly are. Beloved ones, this process of detachment and emotional control is not easy, but it's profoundly liberating. It takes practice, persistence, and, above all, the courage to look inward and ask yourself, am I reacting to this because it's truly important to me? Or because I'm being influenced by something outside of my control? When you begin to respond more consciously, you'll see that life, with all its challenges, becomes more fluid, lighter, and less shaken by external storms. Though it's a journey, there are always ways to reprogram ourselves and change our emotional patterns effectively. Techniques like positive visualization, hypnosis, and theta healing are very effective in this regard. For example, in a situation where you would normally react with anger, you can use the power of your imagination. Imagine the person doing something that would usually make you angry, but this time you respond with love and lightness without attachment. By repeating this several times, you begin reprogramming your subconscious and conditioning it to the new behavior. That's a form of hypnosis and positive visualization. Another approach is to use regression to modify emotional patterns. Personally, I recommend this technique because it's highly effective, and when performed by a trained professional, it can help shift your patterns more easily. Now tell me, how have you been dealing with your emotional reactions? Have you ever experienced this space of detachment in your life? I'd love to know your experience and how you apply this kind of awareness in your daily life. Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep walking this journey together. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell for more tips on how to live a fuller and more conscious life. See you in the next one.